Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Vanucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
Even though that was like a really long time ago.
Like, we haven't chatted in a while, and now we got this podcast. I'm like,
I know.
It's happening.
It's happening. Whether you want it or not, baby.
It's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah. Buckle up. Get ready for the ride.
Ooh.
Where's mommy?
Mine? At home? Oh, mommy. Yeah, mine. Yeah, because you met her. Yeah. Like, what? She's at home. She's probably just, they had a big snowball fight at home yesterday, all like 11, 12 of us. So it was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
But yeah, she's been super proud because BC Buy Now or whatever, they did that promotion of those clips of that time.
I saw that.
She's in it. And she's just like, what's happening to my life?
She's a rock star.
That's hilarious.
Rock star.
It was. It's actually. I'm so proud that, for her, whatever for me. But I'm just happy that she gets to be on it and show herself. All she's showing me, but she's on there too.
I think I thought the commercial itself was really good. I first saw it about a month ago, and I thought, wow, I didn't know they were. BC Food and Bev has done TV commercials, Phil.
Oh, no way.
On Global here, which is kind of cool. He's in Mississauga. He won't see him.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
But it's great because they're, just highlighting the fact that there's, a manufacturing and process, food stuff that happens in this province, which we need to talk more about.
Yeah, and get a little bit be more vocal about it, bring more attention to it, bring more people into it, and let it grow this way, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, we don't do it. We always say we just don't do enough manufacturing in this country of food on the best day of the week. Right, we need to do more.
Manufacturing. You can manufacture a house.
Well, we don't manufacture. You're right. We're anyway. We are what we are.
Yeah. Well, I'm into manufacturing, so I'm super excited. I've always wanted to be in manufacturing. I just started my plant.
You did.
Well, you'll have to get into that.
Yeah, you'll have to tell us about that too.
You'll have to get into that in a moment too. I didn't know how far you've gotten since the last time I seen you, which I think was at, I guess, the awards.
No, it's the HFA, right? Or did you see him after that?
Did we see you at the awards, or did I just see it?
We saw him at the awards. That's where I'm at.
Real quick at the awards.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if it was awards or if it was prior to that, but awards. Yeah. That's even 3 months, 4 months ago.
Yeah. We talk more at HFA.
That's right. Okay, fair enough. So today we have Paul Gill on our show, and Paulie is he'll tell you, I guess, but creator, founder, with his mom, of Naked and Saucy, which is a line of food sauces, condiments, as well as a line of some traditional Indian sauces, like I think butter chicken and tandoori, or things like that. So Paulie, you've heard the podcast before, I know. Mm-hmm. Rules are very simple. Basically, the next 45 minutes of the hour is yours. Mm-hmm. What we'd love to know is sort of, I guess, where you've come from. Why are you doing this? How did you get into this mess? You can talk a bit about your mom, so basically give her another medium that she could be a rock star on. And then just, tell us whatever you want to tell us. I mean, basically, it's your story. And then Phil and I will just pester you periodically with questions if we want some clarification.
So questions are invited.
But otherwise, we're just very, very casual. There's no nothing. It's just
cool.
This.
I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I'm kind of really honored. It's a all-star podcast with all-star people on it. So it's congrats on what you're doing.
Thank you.
It speaks to what we were just talking about, building up that community and bringing more awareness to this industry, and just to attract more talent and get it growing. And it's a super important industry too. So, God's work.
Well, that's kind of lofty. I don't know about that.
Sure.
Thank you. But
thanks, man.
We're excited to do it. We love retail, and we love we
talking to
just
people about stuff like this is
going on, right?
Right. I mean, this is really kind of cool. You get to sit and hear other people's stories, and hopefully, because your story's pretty cool, and your mom's involved in it, it might be inspiring for other people. So that's usually what I tell people, that what your job is you're inspiring others to say, well, you know what, he did it, his mom helped out, maybe we can do it.
Yeah, and also just, I don't know, I kind of stumbled into the industry. Like I didn't know that I wanted to be like this, and I didn't know much about it. So like I'm glad that this is out there. Like we're talking about growing the industry and the awareness.
For sure.
I had just gotten into it just because I was trying to look for business ideas, entrepreneurial ideas, and one of them was from a soy-free soy sauce coming from my cousin who had a soy allergy. I'm like, why don't you just get a soy-free soy sauce? He's like, there is none. I'm like, there's milk-free milk. And like 10 years ago, that was huge. Today, obviously, but like, he's like, there's milk-free milk now. So why don't you get soy-free soy sauce? Like, I can't find any. So then I'm like looking in my like entrepreneurial search what to do. And then I found coconut aminos, and then I'm like, oh, the grocery industry. Like I didn't even cook or grocery shop much. Like, I'm just a order pizza kind of guy.
Or mom cooks.
Or mom cooks, right? She's a great cook. And then I just kind of found this industry, did a little bit of industry research, then, did the macro, did the micro, and just kind of came into it. Didn't know what I was doing. And it was a lot of figuring it out the first few years. But I always say I'm so happy in the sense that it's given me a lot, in professionally and personally. Personally, I feel like it's made me a better person. Like I'm very proud to be in this industry, because I feel like it's helped change the world. Like what banks are doing was started by, or their green initiative or whatever, was started by the organic grocers 40 years ago. And what their message is taking over the world, or trying to take over the world, and people are trying to be who they were for the last 40, 50 years. So just being a part of that is really cool, I think. And it's made me, I think, a better person in that way. Like looking at the world through a more sustainable, ethical thing. Like it's a great industry in that regard. And then professionally, it's helped me grow, because there's no other more competitive industry. I think it's a game of inches. It's
a tough game, eh?
And you gotta love the tension, the everyday tension. If you don't love it, this is not for you. And so I feel like if I were to ever make a move outside of this industry, I just feel like I'd be breathing a lot easier and sleeping a lot
better. If you can do this industry, Paul, you can do anything.
I feel like, you made it in food, you made it in New York, this is really sharpens you up.
What did you do before this, though? So what were you was it just out of school that you came up with this idea, or you had a job, or you're just tired of it?
No, I went to business school, did a couple of years of corporate, and I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. My whole life, I was hustling and doing little things and selling my pogs or burning a CD or trying to make a buck to get by. And always living this crazy life. And then I was in university going through more sciences, because my parents, kind of convinced me that business is when you fail science, you go to business. So I'm like, oh, but I didn't want to do science. I always hated
they do that.
They convinced me,
I love old school.
I'm like, oh, you're in business school, you must have failed a doctorate degree. I'm like, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, okay, so I really hated my life. I'm going to do pharmacy, and then I'm took a business class, and my whole life changed. I'm like, whoa, this is everything. Why am I not doing this? Made the pivot, became the class clown, that every teacher hated, to the teacher's pet and so keen and eager. And it was this really great switch. And then, I thought that it's still at this point, I'm going through school, and I'm trying to figure life out, trying to make $1, pay for life, and thought, okay, I'm going to get my corporate job. I'm going to graduate. I'll get a job, and it'll all make sense. And then I did that. And then I'm like, oh, this is not for me. I'm just no. And that was, I'm like, could I start my own company? Literally the most happiest I've ever felt in my life. I'm like, I'm going to start my own company. I'm like, wow. I felt so it was that moment that when I took my first business class, I'm like, I'm going to start a company. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I was going to do it.
But at this point, there's still nothing. You have no clue what you're
going to start. No, but I'm like, I'm going to do that. And I'm confident I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. And this is what I'm meant for. I'm honestly, wow, what a moment. And really just happy. It gives me tingles. So and at that point, I didn't know it was grocery. So I had a big wall of like ideas. And then was thinking, soy-free soy sauce, learned the industry, and then kind of just jumped in with both feet.
Wow. So you just started making the soy-free sauce?
So I had some money saved up, being the little, side hustler that I was. And then I had like $50,000 in credit cards and credit line. And I put the whole thing together, and I made like 100 cases, went to like 20 stores, and the product started doing well. Like I knew the KPI was strong and the velocity was great, but I didn't know anything around it. Like I went to business school, but I was a horrible business operator in the beginning, using all this cash, margin was messed, all this stuff was going on. I leased a warehouse, 2,000 square foot warehouse. Biggest mistake. Why am I leasing this?
Why do you lease a warehouse?
Third party services that do this, right? So like the second I found out a third party warehouse, like subleased my warehouse. So the first 3 years was just like figuring out how to run a business.
Yeah.
Right.
It was really, really tough. Yeah.
Wow.
And then it was tough. So maybe I'll just go through the rest of it. So the first 3 years was figuring out how to run a business. And then the biggest thing that changed my life was I got advisors and people who've been there, done that. So I can like ask them questions and then pretty much became their employee almost. Like I would come to them a lot more than they probably wanted me to. And they'd be like, this is what's happening. What should I do? Then they tell me what to go do. I go do it. And then I go back and forth until I develop the skills to start making my own decisions and like getting that experience with them. And then the next 3 years in the middle was, I've been doing this for now almost 11. It was figuring out how to run a food business. So like really like not just a business, now like figuring out what food business is, like all the like what you need to do to like do well here. And that was wild. And it's tough because you're not making a lot of money and you're barely breaking even. And then the last few years have been good just because of those middle years, figuring out what to do and getting your product market fit just right. And then it like, once you get that and you figure out what's going on, and then now we've been doing well. But it took, a decade.
It's a long run and you got to be persistent, right? I mean, it's not, to your point, it's not the easiest game.
It's one of the things that Kenny and I started talking about, and one day when I find all the recordings, because I keep losing things. I think when I took a vacation, I really took a vacation, so I lost a bunch of recordings. But Kenny and I were talking about how a side hustle isn't really, it's a lie. It's not really a side hustle, because you sell one product, you sell 10 products.
Yeah, it's all the same work, right?
It's all the same amount of work, right? Like,
well, and it's tough to do side hustles. Like side hustles are a tough gig.
Yeah,
I'm not a big thing unless if you have a 9 to 5. Sure, I agree. Like because you don't have the mental stress or risk. I always value life on a paradigm of risk. There's low risk in a 9 to 5, so add a little bit of risk in a side hustle. But when you got a job, like when you have your own business and you're running side hustles, that's just way too much risk.
There's too much shit going on.
You gotta like come back down and I'm a little bit addicted to risk. My partner always says, like, everything, like once anything's like calms down in my life, I'm like, I'm never going to do that. Like, oh my God, like I'm going through it. And then right when I figure it out, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this thing now. She's like, oh my God, I thought we were going to have 4 months to relax and enjoy.
It's overrated.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So it's overrated. What are you going to do to relax?
From one idiot to another, I can just tell you that if you can't kick it at your age, you ain't kicking it. It's the thing, right? Look at we're exactly like that. We're a bunch of idiots. Like we always talk about, like we gotta get this thing steady. As soon as they get steady, let's add something new, right? Like why are we standing still? I don't understand.
Well, once it's steady, it's steady. What's the point?
Yeah, to growth.
Well, you might want to have fun, or just shake it up a little bit, or just
we're all creative, smart thinkers who want to keep pushing the boundaries of our minds. Well, I don't know, fast and loose with the word smart, idiot.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a little
I think that
might be a little out there, but that's okay.
But it's fun to just keep pushing and like see where you can take things for better or worse, and sometimes worse.
Well, let me pull it back just a little bit, not for anything. We can talk about the products as we go, but one of the things you said, you ended up sort of grabbing some advisors and people that were able to help you out or could help you out. Where'd you find them? Did you go on the Yellow Pages? There's no such thing. You're too young. But there used to be a book called the Yellow Pages. You'd go through the Yellow Pages under advisor, or would you Google advisors? Like, where do you go?
I used to be like a weapon in fights back when I was like this. They were just still lying around a little bit, just chuck them around. I went on LinkedIn, actually. It was brand new back then. And then I went to a couple of like conferences, and I would just approach the people and just be like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. That's how I started those first 20 stores. Like I told them the story of like what I'm trying to do.
Right.
You know, like I got this product, yes, but I'm trying to build this business because of, and I tell them my story and like who I am and like what I want to do in life. And they buy into that because we can't really, you know, I'm talking to other entrepreneurs. They've been through that. Right. So it was cool in that regard. Not everyone connected with it, but yeah, the people who did. And same with advisors. I just reached out to them, and, you know, not everyone had, but a few did. And I have great relationships with them today. It's been very fruitful relationship, personally and professionally.
Did you, when you were picking, were you looking for certain traits?
That's what I asked you the same. Like, was it something you wanted?
Yeah, you know, they always say, you know, get one in ops and get one in sales and get one in like finance. And then I kind of did go that route, but the people who said yes kind of fell down in that way anyways. So I was lucky to get like that gamut. Like I have a super like strong ops dude based in the US. And then I have like a really strong, like, you know, executive founder legacy company. And then he's also like a personal mentor. And then I got a really good lawyer advisor who's also like, you know, always looking out for the best of me. Lawyers are great. Corporate lawyers are underrated, I feel like, as advisors, because they see 1,000 everything. You know?
They see a lot of the failures and toward the end of the disasters.
Yeah,
they can help you out.
Are great, like as they just truly see like 1,000 deals and 1,000 wrongs and rights. So
exactly.
They've been really, really. I always say, you know, find yourself a good corporate lawyer. Maybe don't pay them and like say like, hey, like, you know, I want to be your friend, and like a couple of times
over a beer or two.
Yeah, I've done that. I do. Like then you
try to keep the rates low.
I'm like, why are you charging me here?
Yeah, why $150 an hour if I can do like $20 in beer?
Oh, that's $150 is their junior. It's like $400, $500, $600 an hour. You guys,
I know. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, that's how I did. Just share your story, share who you are, be genuine, and people like that. You know, it's the people. We're social creatures. We want to help each other out.
I think you know, but you make it sound very easy, because I think it actually is easy for the most part. But I don't know if it's that because you've now talked to so many other people. I don't know if it's a fear sometimes. If you don't want to look stupid, maybe because, you know, you got to be the only one who doesn't know what they're doing, because everybody else had to have figured it out. Do you know what that sort of mentality maybe?
I think you nailed it. Is that, you know, I think you're a little scared of, like, you know, you don't want to be stupid looking and like ignorant, and you're dealing with people who are much larger than you and all these things, and it's a bit daunting. And I say it sounds easy 11 years later, but I'm sure I was, you know, sweating bricks back then.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's I do think like people are becoming a bit more open to it and getting a bit more, you know, I get a lot of requests too now, and I love helping people out, so it's nice.
I'm a firm believer in that. I think Kenny and I grew up in a CPG world that wasn't like this. Like, it was very much kind of hide your secrets, keep your keys tucked away, you know, those sort of things. And I think the more of us that share, the more of us that build, the community gets better. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think it's us too, like all of us, right? And the more we kind of lean into this, we can grow this thing together. We don't have to fight over it at all.
I feel like you and I do, because we find that you get to an age where you also should give back.
Yeah.
But when I was, let's say, when I was his age, like Paul's age, I mean, I don't know if I would have had the nuts to go and ask a lot of things, because I think our generation was probably a little different that way too. I think we are probably of the generation that you really didn't want to look like a knob, and you don't look like a knob. You look like a knob when you don't ask the questions.
Yeah.
Not when you do go out and ask. Do you know what I mean? Where your generation, younger people, you don't care as much. You guys will just do it.
Well, vulnerability is looked at a little bit different now than it was 20, 30 years ago, right? It's a sign of weakness back then. Now it's a sign of strength at times.
Right.
So that's a huge thing. But when you were saying like, we gotta lean in, and you guys are leaning in and providing that value. I just saying it comes at a time where it's really needed because our industry is going through Armageddon right now. Like it's really, really tough for a lot of brands and companies. And it's like very sad to see. And I have had my challenges. I know other people have had their challenges. So having people like yourselves and others who are here and can provide support and guidance is like more important than ever, actually, in the last couple of decades, just because of the whole capital situation.
Well, it's definitely an interesting time, right?
Yeah,
definitely an interesting time.
This year gets even more interesting.
Well, today, right? Today's the day.
Yeah.
Those loans are due, and whether you own 40 or you own 60.
But it's the flu we caught from the tech, like they like just fund everything out of your worries and your negative cash flow, and CPG used to be profitable 20, 30 years ago, and then for the last 15 it's completely upside down, and such this dream that we all bought into. I was very lucky. I completely stayed away from that, not out of like some like I'm like this messiah, but like all my advisors like, don't do it. They've come from legacy companies. I've never really raised any money. Like it's just built this different way, but it took 11 years to get to a decent little size. But like,
if you don't have anybody up your ass and you don't have people, on you all the time. Well, it's true, because people don't understand. People don't give out of the goodness of their heart for the most part. When you're talking this level of money, or if you're talking traditional VC, that's not what it's about.
Yeah. So
I'll give you the money, but I want the money back.
Yeah. So the thing with that, people need to understand is that you can take the money, sure, and you can try doing well, but really understand what happens when you don't do well.
Exactly.
The investor will make decisions on your behalf that's better for their capital than your company.
Well, and that's their money.
And that's not evil. It's
their money.
That. You got to understand that. That's what it is. That's the business. But when you take it, that's what you are signing up for.
Yeah.
It's a very you got to really and I'm considering raising money right now. And this is the number one thing that I think about. Like, do I want to do that for this reason or not? Besides all the other things, I
think then it might be just the picking of your partners a little differently. And you're also into a point, if it's a lot easier to tap into, I don't like friends and family, but friends and family, like everybody taps into friends and family at the beginning when it's the highest risk for friends and family, which is why you have a lot of friends and family.
Right? It's like the worst thing. Like
exactly.
That's the rare capital, the hard work, really needed capital. Give it to me. Oh my God.
Exactly. And it's funny, right? But those are the ones that are really, because you screw it up then, which is most businesses don't work. I mean, that's just statistically factual. So you're probably not going to get your money back. But when you get down the road like if you can battle through for those first years and try to bootstrap it yourself, taking small loans here and there, you might have to credit card.
I'm a big debt guy, but debt keeps you in check. You have to hit your income. You have to hit otherwise you don't get it. And then
it can cause a lot of problems, because what you end up focusing on is strictly the payback, and you lose sight of sort of what you're trying to accomplish. You still got to be smart. Yes. I mean, cash flow, as you learned, I'm sure, cash flow becomes like, nobody knows what cash flow is until you're trying to tell people, well, how are you going to pay for this inventory that you think you're going to sell?
First 3 to 5 years, who don't even P&L, less important. Cash flow, everything.
It's all it's about.
Right. And then it kind of slows and you start building a bit of cash. Then it's P&L, because then you can play with your balance sheet and then leverage your balance sheet to grow. But before, it's just all cash flow. I'll take a loan. My business could be told in the arc of interest I used to pay. I was paying 24% on daily loans. Jesus. But I only looked at cash flow. I could survive cash flow. Then I got it down to 18% royalty charge. And then it was down to a BDC 12, 14%. Then same thing with BDC 8%. And now I'm on like commercial banking, 5, 6%. And then with cash in the bank. So it was really just been this like, whoa, dude, paying those 20%, like literally daily loan, like it's going $250 a day. Like I have to pay.
But that makes for an interesting chart, right? You think of, because everyone only thinks about the hockey stick that goes the other way, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna make this thing, it's gonna go like this. But and then what you have that's also really helpful is the reverse hockey stick on your interest, right? Because
it tells a big story. If you could do that successfully, that means you're doing well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But again, timing's a large part of that. You've got a position now, though. The interest rate hockey stick is the other way.
Yeah.
It was free, not so free.
Yeah. And then that's really tough. And then the equity is, all dried up and stuff. And
well, and again, it probably should have been. I mean, when you're paying, 10 times sales, a sales multiple, what the hell sales have to do then? You don't bank sales.
Yeah. I agree, but I hope none of my if I raise money, they listen to this, because I'm asking for 10x, 12x sales on my pre-money valuation.
If you get it, you get it. But it's a lot tougher today, because what are they all looking for?
I wouldn't want it, because I wouldn't want that crazy valuation. Because again, of what we talked about a few minutes ago, the pressure then to
on
return on that would be unhealthy. Right? So I want to do like an attainable goal and like do a conservative projection. And then
what you need.
Yeah. So in worst case, it's like, you can like maximize your upside and like get a better valuation, give up less equity, like really go for the stars, or and then like really fall heavy if something goes wrong. Or you could just minimize your upside, but like keep your floor high and like have a smaller valuation, have a smaller target to grow. Maybe you might make a few $1 million less, but like, like you're safer if something goes wrong, right? I'm a bit risk averse, like, naturally starting a company now, I'm like everything risk. So,
you gotta be cautious with it, to your point. I mean, I think a lot of times the problem, Phil and I talked about this a million times on the podcast, the problem that we've had a lot since, the .com days, or the first batch of .com problems, is everything was based on this fantasy that make it to you, fake it till you make it kind of bullshit. Well, you can't fake the cash flow. You can't fake this shit. It is what it is. And you can get yourself into really ugly spots when you start looking at numbers that really, they're just not attainable. So you can borrow against them. You can take the money, but if there's no plan, I'm sorry. I don't, do whatever you want to do.
I remember before we started this, I don't know if it was recorded, but I just brought production in-house as a separate company. It's called Hummingbird Foods and Co-packing, little shameless plug. And it co-packs for sauces, and we got capacity. Whoever needs it, come by and buy. But anyways, I brought production in-house as a separate company, packs for Naked, and does some other small clients currently and some private label. But I'm dealing with cash flow issues. The demand wasn't as high as I would want it to be. Like some things happened with Naked, with our product launches got pushed back. And I'm like, it's a lot of pressure right now in my life. And it's really, I'm just getting over that hump. I'm almost there, and I'm about to like go to sleep at night. And I'm like,
overrated.
I want to go to the US now. I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? Like, I just need to relax a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of do actually.
But the US, I would raise money. That's what I'm talking about, because like, again, I look at it from risk. So anything in Canada, I would raise debt all day, because I know it, I understand it, I'm confident that I will get the return that I'm looking for, because I know it. But the US, I don't know. Even though it's the same industry, it's a different industry. It's completely different down there. It's
a totally different region.
I wouldn't take debt because it's too risky. It's less expensive long term than equity, but equity is less risky in a certain sense that I'm not having to repay it right away. So I'll take an equity round. I'm hopefully only one, and then I can go back to my model of like strong EBITDA and debt to fuel the growth.
Yeah. And maybe even try to separate the companies a little bit,
Yeah, I would love that. But then my
one can sink the other.
I can give up 50% of the US.
Yeah. Well, one can sink the other, right? It's a big market, and really it's a whole different world.
Yeah, it totally is. A different company, totally. That's why I kind of did Hummingbird separate, because production and brand are two different things, two different values, worlds. Two different cultures. Everything's different. So I'm like, this doesn't make sense as one company. So
well, especially because if Hummingbird is an actual co-packer, you are just one of their clients.
Exactly. Right now, I'm the biggest client, but the goal is to be cash flow positive without Naked. So then I have a hedge in my life. So
absolutely. Well, then you can play both sides of the fence. Do R&D, but you also have other people paying.
Yeah.
Helping you pay
so
for your own
ability. You know, the shelves, you know, like we said, it's a game of inches. I always say this. Hundreds of thousands of products are launched every year. That shelf space doesn't move.
Nothing's changed.
It's a game of millimeters or inches, and I don't sleep. Like there's a constant tension on shelf. Like you cannot ever rest. The manufacturing, if you get 4 or 5 clients, you're chilling, and I like want to go to sleep. But Naked I'll never be able to sleep.
No, it's a whole different world, right? It's
if you don't love it, if you're not loving that tension, don't touch this industry.
Yeah.
Like, there's no balance. There's nothing. It's messed up.
Yeah, you need to be a little crazy to be in this game, especially because you get out and you look around, you go, there are better places to be. Like I've known people, in sports and things like that, sports gear that get into this CPG thing, and they go, this is insanity. You guys are like, I'm out, right? Like go back to slower moving.
I'm saying the industry just sucks you in, takes your money, and spits you out. You got to be careful when going to the US too. Like I have a national retailer that just listed me today, and I know I won't say who it is, but like, because I don't, what I'm going to say next is I feel like a part of their profit center is taking companies like mine, taking all their money, and then taking off shelf in a year. It's a profit center. Maybe maybe like they'll dive into it like that. They'll be like, yeah, well, we're going to give you all these things, and if you fail, you fail. We gave you a shot, but if you succeed, good for you, good for us. But like, it's bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for them.
But remember that is the game. Is that what you said before? The real estate hasn't changed. When we were both buying, and I bought for years, my shelf space is finite.
Yeah.
You don't get long term. You get as much time as I figure you deserve before the next guy behind you might come with more money.
Yeah, more money.
That is the game.
Spend, that you gotta outspend your next guy. That's the real trick.
Or give me a reason to not take the spend from you, but then you need to give me in other ways, which means then velocity, contribution, my margins, whatever it is.
All of it goes into your margin. Either your velocity is up and I just keep buying flyers from you, or my velocity.
Whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever it is you need to do, but now, and nobody understands until they're in this, the complexity of getting. It seems like it should be a no-brainer. I have a cool product. I got a pretty package. I go to a retailer. They should take it. They put it on the shelves. We sell it, and everybody's happy. And there's about 8 trillion steps in the middle.
Wow, 8 trillion hands.
Exactly, and every hand's taking a penny.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. And you gotta respect it. You gotta understand it. Play within the rules, and it is what it is, right?
Listen, tell us a little bit about Naked and Saucy before we get. I think we could keep going down this road.
What do you do?
I feel like the audience would know something about you and this Naked and Saucy brand.
And maybe give us an order of how you started them. I know it's soy. We got sauce.
So I did coconut oils. It's actually called Naked Coconuts when I launched, and there was a bunch of coconut oils and coconut aminos. And then like eventually I got a couple more sauces and a couple teriyakis, and then I still had my coconut oils. And it was still called Naked Coconuts, but I'm like selling teriyaki sauce that didn't have any coconut really in it, but just like fermented coconuts, have no taste. And then like also the quickest way to end a meeting with the buyer at this time was, and still today, is like talk about coconuts. So I'm like Naked Coconuts. Like, we don't want to talk to you. I'm like, no, but I got sauce.
Yeah, that's not me.
Wait.
I don't want to talk about coconut oil either. I have no desire.
Wait.
So you've been there, right? You said no to maybe me.
I said no to a lot of yous.
And then so then we did a big rebrand to Naked and Saucy, and then we went from 3 sauces to 7, and we did that for the last few years. And now we went from like 7 to like 14. We just launched organic curries, Indian and Thai curry, and then something really exciting, organic nutritional yeast salad dressings that are 50% less calories, made with olive oil. So really good new value features for the consumer that's like not out there. So it's pretty cool. And, I always say we do two things. Our brand does two things. It provides a healthy convenience at its core. So what we do is we just provide a convenience product without a health compromise. So, like it's a quick 20-minute meal. Dump in your protein, your starch, your veggies, and our sauce. Literally, that's it on all of them. And then another thing that we provide is inclusivity. Like all our products are organic, vegan, gluten-free, soy-free, and and a lot of them hit some other major lifestyle dietary things like paleo, Whole30. So it's super inclusive and it's super healthy, convenient, and at the core, that's what it does, right? And then we got a bunch of sauces and cool packaging that do that.
So how do you come up with these? Is this you? Like, I know your mom, because I got a chance to meet your lovely mother. It's like who's like, are you doing the R&D? Like, I'm assuming some Indian lines came from mom, but where's the other stuff coming from?
Well, I'm the only one in the company. So there's, I use services. I'm an agency guy right now. Employees like, you got to really work to make employees happy, and it's tough, but I really want to be a strong employer. And Hummingbird, I'm learning that. But in Naked, I use agencies. I use art food science agencies. I work with them to develop the sauces. Not my mom. Mom helps me. Like she'll like test and be like, I need more of this, that. But like from scratch to like understand at scale, like, she'll never use xanthan gum or citric acid or anything. So
she won't know what the hell it is.
So we do it over here with the professionals, but then we got the authentic Eastern mom with our butter.
Yeah. It's got to pass mom's test, right?
So that's how I do it. I make the sauces.
Makes sense.
I have third-party warehousing, third-party manufacturing, third-party R&D. Now third-party manufacturing is in-house me, but yeah. So it's pretty cool. I'm still by myself running this company for the last 11 years. And my biggest challenge will be learning how to be a leader, which I'm learning right now at Hummingbird, like how to manage people. It's very daunting to me, something that doesn't come naturally.
It's hard for most people. It really is, because, you've got to it's the assumptions that we all make, is that I assumed you should be able to do it because, all you had to do is put this in a bottle. And you're not understanding that you really sometimes have to dumb it right down. You really have to be on people, but you also have to be kind and respectful. And, it's
totally, it's that balance.
All of it. It's all of it.
All the time. I just, I don't know what it is. I'm not firm nor fair. Like I'm like easygoing and like whatever, like, I'm trying to be firm.
Whatever's like in a But whatever's like in a plant, whatever doesn't work, right?
Yeah, I need to learn how to say no and be like, okay, these are the rules, and then follow through on them, and like, what.
But it's a way to do that too, Paul. I think what you learn is, these are the rules. These are why we do them. This is why it's important, and this is what happens if you don't do them. I think it's, for the most part, most people, as long as they understand why.
Yeah.
Not that they need to. It's not a God-given thing. Like sometimes it's like when you decide to have kids, it's like, because I hate to tell people who think it is an answer. Because I said so is because I said so. That is the answer.
Yeah.
This is why we do it, because this is the reason why. And we're just going to do it this way because that's the way we're going to do it. That's it.
Yeah. Sometimes.
But that doesn't mean you have to be a jerk about it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. For me, it's more like I got to make the time to do it. I don't do a lot of follow up and follow through. I'm very hands off because I'm running this business.
I know.
I've been used to just like not having to do that. So it's a big time commitment that I'm not making the time for. So it's really just on me.
So when is this assistant or person coming in to help you?
I don't know. I don't know. This is my biggest thing right now, like figuring the organization.
You're adding to his insomnia. Look at him. He's not going to sleep now.
I'm already stressed.
He was all calm, and you start asking all these.
He's not calm. That's the problem. He's not calm because he's killing himself. You can't run two independent and yet codependent businesses.
More than I could chew.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Because they're not independent, Paul. They're codependent.
They're codependent, and they're two different. Well, I don't know nothing about manufacturing. It's a whole different beast. I don't know the first thing about it.
It's a lot of work. I feel for you. And I think that's why I think you've got to find that spot, because that's when you sleep, when you actually finally have somebody there who can help you, so you can take a breath of air, or take 3 minutes extra of sleep Dream a dream, a happy dream, not the nightmare of retail.
Yeah. I don't remember any of my dreams, so I'm lucky. If there were nightmares, I wouldn't know. But yeah, that's Naked and Saucy. It's organic sauces. We're across Canada, 3,000 plus stores, and we're not in the US, but that's something that I'm considering. Again, I need to make a big decision if I want to go to this national launch down there.
There's no rush.
I've been doing 11 years. No rush. Every year I do the business plan. Every year I go through all the numbers, and every year I say no. But I'm closer now, so this year I might do it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But I don't know. We need to raise some money first, and that's a big thing too. That takes 6 to 9 months, right?
Well, everything takes time, right?
So I've been Naked and Saucy,
and then getting to investors. You got to give them kidney biopsies and all these sort of things to kind of make sure you get your money, right? So
totally,
it's kind of a lot.
Well, there's a lot involved in it, right? And then again, and then if we're talking about the stress and not sleeping, that's a whole different component of stress and not sleeping, because money stress is even harder.
Money stress is the worst, actually.
It's the worst. It is. I mean, it's all consuming, and I again, because it's the point of this is so people can, when they hear it, if they're going through similar, they understand it. Is this is why we're talking or teasing you a little bit about.
Oh, no.
Trying to say, listen, you probably do need somebody in the plant to help you out. Why? Well, if you
I've got a full team there, but but
in terms of managing it, in the sense that if you go to the States and pick up 1,000 stores overnight, are you actually planning to sleep this century?
Well, no, that'd be great for Hummingbird.
I get it, but you've got Hummingbird and the brand.
Yeah, the brand. It's more risk on the brand figuring out how to manage and execute that growth.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but it also puts pressure on Hummingbird.
I like sharing the pressure though, because this is where people can learn, and I'm always sharing the pressure because I know that there's a lot of value in that.
I think there is too.
Right, and I love it though. I'm living my dream. I'm a happy guy.
I think it's pretty damn cool. I mean, you're in 3,000 stores. I don't give a shit about the 11 years. That's still impressive to stick around 11 years, to still be here in 11 years. That in itself is an incredible story. Forget the rest. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, and I'm excited for the next 11.
Well, what the hell?
Right? Yeah. So
it's pretty cool. And then really cool. To be the only guy on Naked and Saucy managed 3,000 stores.
I'm sorry, that's pretty freaking impressive, man.
I'm just this operator, but my marketing is horrible, I think, and I haven't made an Instagram post in years. I don't do any. My website is a bit of a joke. I need to grow up. I'm not a storyteller. I'm not a marketer. I'm an operations, sitting at my desk kind of guy. That's why I've been able to kind of do that. Right. But to go from here to that next level, I need to evolve my, either bring it in or bring someone evolve. Like operations are black and white. They've allowed me to get to here, but they will not take me to where I need to go. Because operations will not make X $1 million to a 20 million. That's marketing and storytelling.
But you're not as bad as you say you are. You've got pretty good SEO. You rank for.
He's checking already, right?
Yeah, you good.
That's
you rank for
all luck of the draw. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to take it.
Well, I see. It may not be you consciously sitting down, but you may be doing more things than you think you're doing sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you hired good web developers, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know if you like them or not, but you hire good web developers, because sometimes when you don't consciously do SEO, that is those folks, right? Like, because good web developers, good copywriters, they think about your SEO.
I work with Crew. A little shout out to them. They've been a partner from Crew Marketing Partners. They do all my stuff, and I recommend them. They're not cheap, so I'm honest here right now, but they're good.
Well, sometimes you pay for what you get too, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you pay a lot and you don't get a lot. So I mean, life's full of that shit. But it sounds like the way he's looking at it, it sounds like your keywords are there and you're doing stuff. So that's half the battle.
Like, I'm not even on LinkedIn. Like, I don't have a picture. I don't have anything. Like, I don't. I'm sure I could grow my sales.
You're on LinkedIn. You could use a nice picture of you and
I don't know.
stuff. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, Naked and Saucy should probably have its own page.
I really need a marketer in my life. I need 2 people in my life, and I can like really then like do well. I need a people manager, and I need a storyteller, and this team would do really well. I think like that is like ultimately my 10-year goal, because it's not like I'm just going to get them tomorrow, because these people cost a lot, and I want to find the right people and be like my partners, right? I want to build a triangle where I can now develop this business and other businesses around me, the operator, a storyteller, and then the manager. Right. You know, and really love that. I have a lead on who the manager might be, and I need to find a storyteller in my life. And I really like that's my 5-year plan. Like that's my 5-year goal, is to really build my inner circle
then. You know, it's like you just keep doing your G, keep networking. I mean, after, you know, you can ping us on any time after this podcast, because we do shit like that. Or we may know people, or if you want to run people by us that, hey, what about this person? We've been around long enough to know. We also do a lot of that. That's not to make this a podcast into that, but the point is, this is how you do it, though. It's the pitching and the talking and the thinking. Because even now, I'm thinking, oh, geez, you know, I wonder what we could do, and I'm thinking, well, forget us. Like, I wonder if, you know, this person, or, you know, that guy I've talked to last week, I wonder if they could help out. That's the point of this. Yeah,
that's amazing. And it's full circle into what we were talking about. Like, you never stop knocking on doors. You know, if it's day 1 finding an advisor, but now the same thing here in the middle of the journey, end of the journey, you're still talking to people, asking people for favors. Literally, just be like, hey, can you help me out here?
You have to, as you're finding out, because, you know, to the point, and a lot of entrepreneurs listening are going to feel the same thing. When you're not sleeping because there's so much shit on your plate, it's exhilarating and it's exciting. But it's not long-term sustainable, really, because it's hard. It just it takes a physical and emotional toll. It's exhausting. It just really is. I don't care what anybody says. That's not a negative. That's a fact. It's daunting, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
You'll find time to sleep. You're obviously standing, so you're getting some sleep.
I know.
Maybe you're getting too much sleep. Maybe you should be a little more creakier or something.
I sleep. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's like, you know, sleep is very important, but, I just got this new pillow, the Purple Harmony pillow. So it's
see, then you're killing it, right? You got quality sleep. You don't need
that tension, you know. It's that stress. It's that worry. I'm knocking off a few years of my life. 2023 was the most hardest year of my life, but it's all good. I was just gonna say, I know we're almost at the end here. I'm glad that we kind of talked a lot more about entrepreneurship, because that's who I am. Naked and Saucy is the company I run, but I don't, you know, like, I love it. But it is, you know, who I really am, and what I love to talk about is being an entrepreneur. And I'm really glad that.
We're glad you did it. There's a lot in there. Like, there's a lot in there. People learn a lot from listening.
I couldn't tell you about tasting profiles and tasting notes and like all that stuff.
To be honest with you, you know what? I think that's a different podcast or a different event. I think what we try to do, like for ourselves too, because we run companies too, and we help people.
Yeah, this is the commerce.
That's the point, is to say, listen, you're not alone in this. There's a lot of people like you. There's people that are 2 years behind. There's people 2 years ahead of you, and you know, everybody's gone through the same shit. And if they haven't, they will go.
Yeah.
So it's very common, but it's always good to know I'm not alone.
Totally.
Right? Or that's how he did it. So he just asked people. Yeah, I heard the podcast. All he did was just bug people. Okay, well, maybe we should do that. Sure.
It's really important, because, you know, your partner at home doesn't want to hear it all the time, right? You need someone.
They're not in it.
You know, like someone to just unload off of, and they unload, and that's where some magic can happen.
Exactly.
It can be very lonely, for sure.
But it's also somewhat unrewarding, because no matter how supportive your partner at home is, if they're not in the business, they're like,
I don't get it.
Hey, honey, I did this thing. You're like, yay.
It's
and
awesome.
You're like,
good for you.
Oh, it's just not this, you know, like, you come to us, and you go to anybody else, and then you go, I landed a banner today. Like, I got 18 stores. like,
it's like huge, right? Or like I just got up my margin by 1%. That doesn't, or
I raised my cost 30 cents, and you'd be thinking 30 cents, you're gonna kill it this year.
There's like, like it's a different thing, for sure.
It's a whole different game. I got that debit reversed. That never happens, but you could.
Did you have any
come on, Kenny,
super important that we kind of skimmed over there, Phil?
What's that?
Did you have any super important questions that you wanted to get in there?
Nope. No. I'm good. I really enjoyed this. I
did too.
I liked your mindset. I like the way you go about things, and
I like your frankness.
I'm so curious. I actually hope you get to the US and we get to follow you around a little bit.
Man, we'll see. I don't know if I got a good thing going in Canada. That's the thing, right? I don't want to take someone's money and then make unsustainable choices for my future in Canada. But like what Kenny said, I could maybe separate them out and then stay protected.
Separate them out, or again, it's hard to do because trust me, we're all very, very similar. It's the excitement can take over all of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's always it's like everything. Once you know you can do it and you've had success, if you don't have it this year, it's not to say you're not going to have it next year. To be frank with you, you probably even do better because you just learned that much more, and opportunities always come up.
Totally.
You really do.
And I'm just reminding me of something else that I'm really working on over the last few months, just because I've been so stressed out, and like, like the numbers are still good for me. Like I still do like traditional sense well, but I'm stressed out. I'm not in the best shape. So I'm really working on what is success. Like, like I will get there, but like I should be like feeling like that all the time, regardless of the numbers, like, or whatever. Like I want to be happy. So, and figuring out what that looks like for me is different for everyone. And that doesn't mean just being okay with yourself, but like, what else? What do you do in your downtime? Like, I don't have hobbies and interests, and that worries me. I feel like I'm very dull. And because I'm always worried about this. So I'm like trying to figure out, like, maybe I don't need to create those, but like I'm trying to figure out, how to be happier. Yeah. I'm happy, but like feeling more successful.
He's like, look at me.
I'm happy, but I don't feel as successful regardless of the business as I should be. Like, like I don't feel, and I feel like maybe I'm sacrificing too much of my old age for the stress that I'm taking on. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know where I'm going with this. It's very abstract, but these are the big things that I'm thinking about.
But I think that's the normal part and what most people think. And I think it really comes, I think the whole thing, not the whole thing, the biggest trick to that is really sitting down and defining what is success.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Because it has to be that. Like we both do things. I have a ton of hobbies. Does that make my life happier or not? I don't know. I like doing them. And then maybe, what? But then I sit back and think, what? Shit, I should spend less time with the cards and the coins and the paper money. I should spend more time in the business.
Yeah.
So I got a couple extra hobbies than you, but then I'm thinking, oh, geez, I just wasted all that time. I should have been doing business. What am I doing wasting my time in here?
Yeah. But, it's just, I should just have a kid, because kids they always make you like, okay, I got this. I'm doing something, with purpose. But
I think you got a cool thing going. I think you got some neat
stuff. I'm good. But I'm still like, it's different. I don't want it to be just about business. I don't want.
No, we totally get it. Totally get it.
Right, but that's what I am right now, and I'm trying to figure out like how can I balance that. Wild. That's the end of it.
Listen, that's an interesting thread to pull on too, because I think all entrepreneurs struggle with that. We struggle with it.
We do.
So I think if you want to pull on that, we should jump on another podcast and do that. I think that would be fun. If you get any breaking news, aka you get investment or you're making a run for the border, call us back and we'll get you on a YouTube segment so we can share some good news, try and get some help you build a little momentum, things like that.
Or if you just ever need a sounding board, you don't have to
more thinking from that perspective.
Well, seriously, it's not like we're here, so it's not a big deal.
Email, call, send a text, whatever makes you happy. And then if you don't have everyone besides your partner to cheer,
She's good though. She's great.
We'll be excited for you.
We can get excited for you. If you tell them if you found an extra nickel in margin, shit, I'll do a dance for you.
Yeah. You saved the deduction? Are you kidding? We're in.
Holy shit.
Okay, let's audition. Let's see what a little Jake looks like.
Yeah.
Hey.
Come on.
This is a podcast. These videos are just so I can see who I'm talking to. We don't do video.
With the glasses.
If he does the gig, I will make sure it makes it on the both our socials. So
never mind, no videos. That's it.
All right.
Thank you so much. If people want to find you, what's the best place to find you?
Certainly not LinkedIn.
Not on LinkedIn. Honestly, I'm the easiest guy to get a hold of. Email, phone, I always pick up. I don't have a busy schedule. And I won't put my number on here, but everyone, a lot of people know people, and they can always email me, call me. I guess, LinkedIn. You can message.
What's the webpage?
nakedandsaucy.com. All those emails.
Naked A-N-D
saucy. That support email, like when you do the contact, goes right to me. I'm that guy too.
Okay, well there you go. So well, why wouldn't you be, right?
And
if we need a new mop and a bucket, we're phoning you as well, right?
I do the vacuuming too.
Okay, just want to make sure that it's all things.
All things. I love it. All right, guys. Pleasure.
Paulie, take care of yourself. Phil, you hang on. Paulie, have a nice afternoon, man.
Bye.
Ciao.
He's a great.
It's an entrepreneur at heart, man.
He really is.
That's awesome. 3,000
stores. He looks calm like that.
Yeah, he feels tired to me though. I think it's we laugh, but you know exactly what he's going through. Because you're and I think it's a lot of it is in the definition of sort of whatever success means or whatever you feel like, and you want to do everything now and and yet you know what? I mean, he's got such a great story. I mean, he's done it all by himself. He's running a manufacturing plant. He's got a brand. He's got 3,000 stores. He's making product for other people. Like, fuck, what do you want?
I know.
I mean, we all want whatever we want. That's not whatever makes him happy. If he wants 3,000 times that, I couldn't give two shits. But sometimes look in the mirror and celebrate. Like, buddy, that's pretty impressive.
He's tired. I can see it in his face. Like I actually feel it too. I feel like that's what we felt like before Christmas.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Which is just
there's just so many things going on, right? Just like here, there, everywhere, like.
And none of them are coming fast enough, and everything's coming too fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all at the same time.
Agree.
Anyway, that was interesting.
That was great. I liked his thoughts on entrepreneurship. So,
yeah, I like. Well, we both. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. That's pretty good. Good on him, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for listening.